Zhang Weili and Rose Namajunas, okay? This is one of those fights that, I mean, you don't want to see either of them lose, right? I'm just a really, I don't know. I'm sad about it, guys. I really don't want to see either of these girls lose. If this was a draw, I would be the happiest person on the planet. Why I say that is because Zhang Weili is potentially the best fighter I've ever watched from a female perspective. I just think that the damage that she throws with, it's just really, it's incredible to watch. I've watched some of her early fights. A lot of great breakdowns out there. If you want to check them out, people have found the clips of her very first few fights against Meng Bo, who's now a massive fighter in the ONE FC realm. But I think these are the fighters that we're going to watch for a very long time. I'm in awe of what Zhang Weili's brought to the UFC. The 100% takedown defense for me stands out more as a gauge that this girl just wants to bang. She just wants to bang, bro. But the big thing for me, let's break it down, right? The defense, the strikes that are landed. I've said this a couple times now, but the dancing, the moving, the flowing, who does it better than Rose? Rose Namajunas is one of the most flowy type strikers you're ever going to see. I think that even in the Jessica Andrade fight, she was doing well. And I think that was just a terrible opportunity where, like I just said, where someone like Jessica Andrade, when she does get your hands on you, man, she can definitely overpower you to a whole new level. And that was something that Rose actually said, to quickly touch on the previous fight, but she actually said that she's trained with Valentina and Andrade, and she can definitely say that, well, she's trained with Shevchenko and she's obviously fought Andrade, and she pretty much said that Andrade has a really good opportunity here because the power difference is significant, and that's coming from the horse's mouth, if you ask me. So again, Rose is a very flowy type of striker. She's very zen. She looks good in there. She's kind of Conor McGregor-esque, right? That's what everybody falls in love with. For me personally, I love it. It's kind of some of the things I like about MMA boxing, right? It's just such a combination of the kickboxing and the boxing style. You can't really bounce on your feet so much in boxing. A lot of people are flat-footed because they like to stamp and launch, and just that flow is just something really marvelous to watch. And it's funny, Coach Whitman goes off about it all the time, right? Just to watch Rose work is just really fun. And I couldn't agree more. That's where I kind of want to get into the stats, right? This is where I think this fight is a lot closer. We're going to take a quick peek right now. Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot closer than the last fight because I think that Zhang Weili has a lot of, ground to make up in terms of experience in compared to the last fight we talked about. But Rose at that plus 155 opener, and then now sitting at a plus 175 to plus 160 range, given where you go. But I think there's reasons for it. I think there's more opportunities for her to win, and it's because we haven't seen Zhang Weili with that crazy defense, right? Like, we've just seen the powerful striking. So it was such a close fight with Joanna, and Joanna's in her own world right now where she doesn't want to fight anyone but a champion. So she's hoping to get the winner of this fight, doesn't care, only wants that fight. So it's probably something to consider. I do think that, there is the opportunity that, Zhang Weili's is just so powerful, right? I don't want to see a finish, but the 0%, the 100% takedown defense on Zhang Weili's side is, once again, wants to keep the fight standing. And when you look at Rose, I don't think she has a problem with that. I think she has really slick ground game that she can exploit maybe later in the fight if she's actually someone who really wants to kind of, show off some of the skill that she has, especially as the fight goes into the deeper rounds. She's usually pretty good with the cardio, poised as hell. That's the one thing I love about Rose. She's always so poised. And in this case, it's going to help, right? Joanna was landing some shots, right? That was not a decisive win. And so when you look at the things that Zhang Weili does, it's very machine-like. She's very Ivan Drago about shit, and it's just a different animal when you see her outside and inside the cage. But that's where I think you're kind of seeing the difference. Like, this is such a good matchup of the flowy striker versus the I'm going to get in there and just bang, baby type of striker. You know, I'm not saying she's not technical, but if you look at the difference in numbers, I do think that Rose does come in with a little bit more of that, you know, defensive-esque striking, likes to get hit a bit less. So she chooses to base her strikes more on where you're throwing, and I'm going to come back at you. You know, 60% takedown, 60% striking defense is what I'm looking at here versus Zhang Weili's 53%. You know, and she lands at 6 strikes per minute, but also eats almost 4.5 on Zhang Weili's side. So when you look at our girl Rose, I mean, it's closer to that 4-3, 4-4 range. So she's pretty even, but the defense is there. And if she's able to kind of pick up on what Zhang Weili's throwing down, she might actually start finding success with that as the fight goes on. Because if there's one thing about Joanna Jędrzejczyk doesn't really have that in her, right? She likes to go and bang as well. So that's why the Joanna and Zhang fight turned into one of the best fights of all time, because just two girls wanted to go and bang, bro. But now I think that Rose has what it takes in terms of just overall striker to maybe upset the champion. That's why the lines are a bit closer than the last fight. That's why I think that as we get closer, you know, I think that plus 140, that plus 150 is a much more fair line. I think that just power fighters in general seem to have a bit more of an opportunity to win against Rose. I think that when Rose fights some of those more, you know, lower ranked fighters, if you will, she's just outclassing them. So now it's just about fighting those very, very machine-esque type of fighters. And, you know, I'm not even saying that Rose isn't a machine herself, but I think she's just the most elegant machine when it comes to what she does in the octagon. You know, she's just not ugly about it. It's very beautiful to watch her fight. And it's funny, just for me, it's almost like the flat-footed fighter is a dying breed, because we're seeing what the work can do when you're just light on your feet and throwing, you know, very flowy strikes when you don't want to get in there close and just box with some of these powerful fighters. I mean, that's going to be the fight to watch, guys. And, you know, as much as I bigged up Tristan Connolly before, you know, against Pat Sabatini, let's be real. These 3 title fights are just insane when it comes to hype and when it comes to actually game plans, because some of these matchups are really, really fun. And, you know, like I said, the odds right there don't surprise me much. But at the same time, I think that minus 200 should be a little bit closer than it is right now. But, you know, beautiful main event, could easily be the main event.